What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If that is something you're into, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Is Ohio State National Championship real? Even though there's this one asterisk that we got to talk about. Nico Yamalyaba says it ain't about the money, but is it? I'm asking you. Kurt Signetti saying all the right things. Can Indiana make a return to the college football playoff in 2025? Also want to invite you to subscribe to the podcast on Apple and Spotify. And if you do that and you fill out the form in the description below on YouTube, I will send you a sticker. We're about to start putting merch on the site, which is great, but none of that merch is going to be a sticker. I understand that a lot of people want stickers, but the way to get a sticker is to subscribe to the Apple and Spotify podcast and then fill out the link below. I really enjoy sending out the stickers. A lot of them have gone out. There have been over 150 stickers that we sent out so far. I would love to send out more than 1,000 before we get to week one. We'll see how that goes. If we get to that number, it's probably a little audacious for us. We get to 1,000 before the college football season. That's probably a better route to go. And we're on the cusp of doing something really cool here on Adapt and Respond. And I really enjoy you being a part of the process. Those are my day ones who've been here since around the Step Mill days. I appreciate you more than you know. Those of you that are just joining up, welcome. It's a vibrant community. We got really 3 speeds here. We give a fist pound. We get an upside down face if you say something I think is offsides or ridiculous. And when you get a you're on my land if you're really just trying to come at me in the wrong way. I'm in the comments. I'll read your comments. I expect you to be articulate in your comments, and I expect you to make them about the topics that we're talking about. You make them about me, hey dog, you might not be able to comment on the show anymore. That's just how it goes. We're not playing with this. If you're on the team, then you're on the team. If you're not on the team, you're not on the team. Which is how I want to enter into this conversation about Ohio State and Michigan, and more importantly, Michigan deciding to lean in on a subject that I'm writing about, boxsports.com. You go check it out about Ohio State, Michigan, who really runs the Big Ten. And it is piggybacking on this thought, right? It is, can Ohio State really be in charge of the Big Ten if they haven't won the Big Ten championship since 2019? And if their national championship did not come with a win against Michigan, for whom they lost 4 times in a row. At one point, we're talking about 10 damn years with Ohio State lording over the University of Michigan. And then Jim Harbaugh found a way to get this thing upright and running, and then win a national championship, run the table in 2023, going undefeated 15-0, only needing to coach 9 games on the sideline. Now, we could talk about the suspensions in another segment, and we have, and we will. But I'm going to say Jim Harbaugh built a system, built a program that could operate at a high level without him on the sideline. And for that, he deserves all the credit in the world. One of the hallmarks of a very well-run institution is that when when the head of the company leaves, college football is a business, it still operates as it should, because all of the people that you have hired and the systems that you put in place are functioning without you needing to oversee them. That is an enormous accomplishment in what we think of as American capitalism in 2025. I don't think that's true in most instances. Matter of fact, when a college football coach is no longer in charge, we watch the program go into disarray before it comes out. More often than not, there's almost never a seamless transition between a head coach and the next head coach. But in Ohio State and Michigan's case, you saw that. Jim Harbaugh knew that Sharon Moore was the guy to lead, put him in place, and his first year was a success by anybody's measure. He didn't nail the quarterback, but he did beat Ohio State and he did beat Alabama, which means that he beat the defending SEC champions at the time. And then he beat the defending national champions now. If he gets the quarterback thing sorted out, Michigan is going to be a force in the Big Ten in 2025. But that's really what we're talking about, right? It's can Michigan assert its dominance in the Big Ten in 2025 with Ohio State defending this national championship, while also saying we're not defending anything. That team in 2024 was 2024, this is 2025. Philadelphia Eagles are saying the same thing, right? We're not defending anything. We're chasing 2025. That's all well and good. I'm glad that y'all have that mindset inside of your building, in your locker room. But we talk about you outside of that place. And we talk about you behind your back. And we talk about you as if you are the defending champs, because that's who you are in our mind's eye. And our mind's eye is what makes up the sport. If we didn't think that Ohio State and Michigan were worthwhile, they would not be. That's fan sentiment. That is commentary sentiment. As much as we want to give control to these programs because we want to believe in them, I mean, the short answer is we care more about Ohio State than we do Boise State, San Diego State, so forth, so on. So when Derrick Moore comes through Big Ten media days in Vegas for what feels like it's going to be the first and only time, because Tony Petitti was very clear, the media days event was in Vegas because there's renovations going on in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil. They believe that Indianapolis is their home, and they will treat it that way for their media days and for their Big Ten championship game. So Derrick Moore enters into the conversation by saying, first, I'd like to congratulate them on the win, them being Ohio State. But, it's not no real win if y'all ain't beat us. All right, I get that people want to quote him how they want to quote him, but you can take up from man. You can say, but it's not a real win if y'all ain't beat us. I get that part. It goes on. Sharon Moore, when asked about Derrick Moore's comments, he said they won a national title. They were the best team at the end of the year, so I give them all the credit. They were well deserving. They played really well. They obviously won it all. So kudos to them. I keep going here, Derrick Moore. I feel like I could have done a better job as a leader of not letting that get out of control, talking about the flag plant incident. But at the same time, I feel like that right there is pretty much why people come to Michigan or Ohio State, the rivalry, the atmosphere. Remember that Michigan planted a flag on the O Block at Ohio State 2023 after the win, because this Ohio State team was the best team that they had ever seen, and they still managed to beat them 13-10 in Columbus for a straight year. I say it's the best team that they've seen because that team won the national championship. I don't care that you might think the 2021 team was more talented, or even the 2022 team, if that's where you want to go. I think that if they played 2020, this would be a different conversation altogether. I think we're living in Earth 838 instead of 616 if they played this game in 2020, because I think Michigan was going to lose that game by a lot, but it didn't get played. If they had lost that game by a lot, I don't think alumni would have been able to stomach Jim Harbaugh for another year. Instead, they force-fed him a contract that was incentive-based and quite literally disrespectful. And he outperformed it. And in outperforming it, he also got what he wanted, which is everything he needed to win a national championship, and Sharon Moore in charge when he decided to go coach the LA Chargers. I think Michigan understands how we view college football. Like I was saying this last week when I wrote a piece about Georgia running the SEC, all roads through Sanford, right? Ole Miss measured its season by beating Georgia, knowing that they could have been in the college football playoff had they taken a little bit better care of themselves in the football. If you can beat Georgia, you feel like a team that can play in the national championship game. That is what it is. Georgia plays Texas close, Texas loses. Georgia plays Texas close again, Texas loses. Texas still makes the college football playoff as SEC champion runner-up. And they make the college football semifinal for the next, for the second consecutive year. We measure Alabama against beating Georgia, knowing that they underperformed because they underperformed against, I think, what was the number 2 team in the country at the time. And that vaulted Alabama to number 1 with the win. And then they gave it all back with the loss to Vanderbilt and later with the loss to Tennessee and Oklahoma before losing to Michigan. Michigan also recognizes how the sport is being governed and how the sport is being played. And right now, for better or for worse, the opinions of a few people matter more than the millions. The opinions of the selection committee, the opinions of people like myself who ranked the teams in the top 25 for a national audience, and more importantly, and most importantly, you. You don't want to see Southern Methodist and Boise State play for a national championship. You would much rather see Notre Dame and Ohio State. I also think you would not mind Ohio State and Michigan, as we've seen Alabama and Georgia feature in a national championship game twice. And both times it was outstanding. It was great. We enjoyed it. We want to see the best teams in the sport play each other at the end of the season for the national title. That's why we created a playoff system. There's also this point to raise that Ohio State knows what Michigan is saying on its baseline is true, right? Sharon Moore said all the things he's supposed to say because he's the head coach. Derrick Moore is not a head coach. Derrick Moore is a player on the field who beat Ohio State straight up. He's earned the right to tell them they ain't done nothing. If you're an Ohio State player, you heard this, and you hear this from your community, your neighborhood, people you go to class with. there are many, many, many benefits to being a Ohio State football player. One of them is you're minted, right? But if you get your gold pants, there's nothing anybody can say to you. And now we've got an entire class of Ohio State players who never won against Michigan. And some of those players are really, really talented. I'm thinking about CJ Stroud. I'm thinking about, my goodness, Quinshon Judkins. I'm thinking about Emeka Egbuka, quite frankly, right? That's a 2021 guy. Guys they brought back to win the national title could not get their gold pants against Michigan. This is also important because the NCAA thought it was worth sanctioning Ohio State over players giving away their gold pants for some tattoos. Tattoos last forever, so do the gold pants. I think the optics are important here, but it's also getting under the skin of Ohio State fans that they could face a postseason ban and Michigan could not. Michigan, who cheated on the field, Ohio State players who accepted impermissible benefits that led to Jim Tressel's ouster, Luke Fickell having a bad year, but then that 2012 year was taken away from them. That team went undefeated. I submit to you, Urban Meyer would have won the 2012 national championship with that team. Now, you can tell me that you think it's different. You can tell me that Notre Dame might not have been as good. You can tell me all sorts of things about what you think about the 2012 teams, but I think that team had earned the right to play for the national title, and it was taken away from them by an NCAA who might look back on that the way they looked at the Reggie Bush Heisman situation. Now, when they leveled the penalties against USC, they didn't say Reggie got to give back the Heisman. Reggie gave back the Heisman to the Heisman Trust willingly. The Heisman Trust was unwilling to give it back to him or reinstate him until name, image, and likeness comes along. So it's more about what the Heisman Trust was doing and less about the NCAA. But it was precipitated by the NCAA's pointing out that USC's running back, best running back they've ever had, got given stuff he wasn't supposed to be given at the time. Now this seems ridiculous. And it's always seemed ridiculous because that's what the sport is. But I would be remiss if I did not tell you Michigan has still managed to beat Ohio State, win a national championship, win the Big Ten championship 3 out of the last 4 years, with everything else going on, with Matt Weiss, with the infractions case, with Jim Harbaugh, recruiting violations, Sharon Moore in recruiting violations. It doesn't seem to matter. So if Derrick Moore says that it's not real, Ohio State has one thing they can do about it. Come the final week of the season, when you play the team up north in Ann Arbor, you got to go get a win. We'll be back with more talking about what Nico Yamalyaba had to say about taking the money and why I think what he's saying is preposterous. Back on Adapt and Respond with me, RJ Young. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. Do you think Nico Yamalyaba should be talking about the money situation, the holdout situation in Tennessee? Or do you believe him when he says, he didn't leave Tennessee because of money? Also going to tell you that we got an audio podcast of this, if that's the way in which you want to listen. Right now, there are no ads on it, so go get it. We do this often enough. 3 times a week is what I promise, but we sometimes do longer shows like this one or shorter shows like this one, depending on where you live. Like if it's 30, 40 minutes that you're looking for, this is going to come short of that. But it is a longer show for what we've been doing on YouTube, which is basically between 8 and 10 minutes, which is a full segment. For those of you that don't know or are new to the channel, I host a radio by myself, solo talk radio show host, kind of like Colin Cowherd or Jim Rome, in Tulsa at 97.1, the Sports Animal, from 9 to 11 a.m. until I got a job at ESPN hosting Game Night. And then later, this one in October 2020, where my boss calls me up and says, "Hey, do you want to talk about college football for a living? Write about college football for a living?" I said, "Hell yeah, I do." And that's where I've been ever since. You can read my work at foxsports.com. I'll do other digital and television things later this year, but this is the show. Okay. So Nico Yamalyaba shows up at UCLA, and UCLA is very excited about this. Deshaun Foster gets to introduce Nico Yamalyaba as a guy who is going to probably be their quarterback in 2025. And the locker room is ecstatic. They understand they got a California guy who knows how to play ball. He's a 5-star prospect, probably a better volleyball player than a quarterback. He's a damn good quarterback. But it gives them a little bit more of an edge. It gives them a little life to what they're doing. Nico Yamalyaba's name rings out much larger than Joey Aguilar's might have. And that is going into the context of this conversation. However, Nico Yamalyaba reportedly did not report to camp, or said he was not going to report to the spring game, which I think is part of camp, if he did not get a raise. So he held out. He didn't go show up to practice, and he didn't show up to spring game. I think at the time, he's thinking Tennessee has nothing else they can do but pay me. They got to come up with a way here because they can't go get another quarterback, to which Tennessee said, fool, you thought. So they told him he could kick rocks. Go into the transfer portal if that's what you want to do. You're not going to hold us hostage. And the rest of the college football world loved that. Shows up at UCLA, gets invited with Deshaun Foster to Big Ten Media Days. And what does he say about the money situation? That Tennessee, his transferring had nothing to do with money. Okay. Quote is, not at all. My family was strictly the main importance for me. I let my business team, my parents handle that side of the NIL. Just being closer to family was the most important thing. Okay, dog. So why'd you commit to Tennessee? So why'd you sign with Tennessee? So why you play, 2 years at Tennessee? Why'd you lead them to the college football playoff in 2023? Because it's not as if you couldn't have gone to UCLA or USC or Washington, Oregon, or any other place, but you committed to Tennessee because that's where you wanted to be. It's hard for me to take that quote and make it feel like it is trustworthy. It's accurate. It's accurate. And I think that Nico is speaking the truth on what he believes and feels. But that ain't how we believe and how we feel. We do think it's about money. Because this is America and we have a capitalist system. Everything is about money. It's about the bottom line. I think Nico wants to believe that he's got a clean slate and that there are enough people rooting for him at UCLA to do well that it's not going to much matter what he did at Tennessee or didn't do Tennessee or how he left Tennessee. But in the context of college football nationally, and UCLA is a nationally recognized program, you're going to have to show us that in other ways. You saying it ain't going to do it. Now, he got asked about it. I'm sure he answered because he got asked about it, but he didn't lead with it. I am going to say, if this is the playbook that you're going to use, where you want to be closer to family, where you think the most important thing that people want to hear is it's not about the money, that should have been the case at Tennessee. It should never have been anybody hearing that you were holding out. It shouldn't have been reported that you got $350,000 out of high school to sign, and then they were paying you more than $2.1 million a year to play football. It should be mentioned that you were not the engine for that Tennessee offense. Dylan Sampson was. It should be mentioned that you needed max protection with 2 guys in routes most of the time. It should be mentioned that your dual threat ability was stunted. You didn't take off with the ball as much. It should be noted that you beat up on bad teams, then got beat by Arkansas after, winning against Tennessee, and then get absolutely trounced by Ohio State. I want this conversation to inform other parties what might happen if you decide to go this route. I don't think you can be a middling SEC quarterback and hold a blue blood program like Tennessee hostage. That said, when you get to a place like UCLA and you tell us that it's not about the money, it's hard to believe. Now, if he turns UCLA into a world beater, the segment might feel bad. But even if he does, Tennessee's probably going to feel about Nico the way they feel about Lane Kiffin. And let me tell you something, that ain't no fun either. All right. Okay, that's going to do it for this shorter episode of the number one. See, damn it, I did it again. Adapt and Respond with me, RJ Young. Subscribe on the podcast. We're going to take a short break from doing the full episodes as your man has some birthday activities that he's going to get up to. But I will see y'all very soon. Enjoy your weekend. Deuces.